Testing, testing, 1 2 1 2.
Recording in progress.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Ms. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Etherly?
Here.
Mr. Messina?
Present.
Dr. Miller? Mr. St. Columbia?
Present.
Ms. Davis won't be with us this evening, so that's four present, two absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So we do have a quorum, and we'll go ahead and get started this evening. We do not have a proposal, or not proposal, but a presentation for the minutes yet, so we will push those minutes approvals to the next meeting, and that will take us directly into our new business for today. We will start with M2X proposal. This is a proposal to set up and operate a temporary methane station at the landfill. So we have a representative with us. Feel free to come up to the mic, and he will give us a review, an overview of this proposal.
Great, good evening.
Good evening.
Can everyone hear me? Thank you for having me. I'm TJ McLaughlin. I'm here on behalf of M2X Energy and the landfill tonight. Tonight in front of you, you will see a non-binding term agreement as well as some information on M2X Energy. We are a startup company that partners with landfills throughout the country, generating their landfill gas into a sellable product. So what I'm proposing tonight, and what M2X Energy is proposing tonight, is a long-term partnership with the city of Helena, West Helena, so that we can convert the landfill gas into a sellable project, or sellable product, where the landfill can create more revenue. So what you have in front of you, that non-binding term sheet outlines.
I'm sorry, TJ. I just want to. This is the red folder. So if you're looking for the materials, this is your red folder. Go ahead.
Gotcha. No, sorry about that.
Okay.
It outlines that M2X Energy will fully fund the project. Our business model is that we build, own, and operate our systems. Along with that same setup, we convert that landfill gas into a sellable product. So in return for the gas rights to the landfill, the city will receive a $50,000 signing bonus for the gas rights, as well as 10% of the net revenue in the project for the duration of the term. If anybody on the council has any questions, I'm happy to provide it. I think the proposal and the presentation give more information on who we are.
Are there any questions for the representative? And I think it's good to know that, as TJ mentions, this is an opportunity for the landfill to step up its operations and produce this methane for production and selling. The setup of this particular type of operation is modular, so it would not necessarily need to be a permanent fixture in the landfill. It would be present for the duration of the time that we have a partnership with M2X, and it would increase the revenue that the landfill is able to pull in. So just wanted to kind of add some context around, this wouldn't be the establishment of a new building or a new permanent structure. It's actually pretty flexible. And I think that's one of the things that makes this a potential for a good partnership.
Do you think you could give a little bit more information? I haven't seen this, so I'm really not sure what that's in.
Sure. So currently at the regional landfill, there is no pipeline or anything like that. There's no project when it comes to the landfill gas that is currently being emitted into the atmosphere. But what we will do is implement a well field and a GCCS, or a gas control and conditioning system, which then will divert the gas into our systems, and we can create a sellable product. And from there, our company has an offtake partner where we will sell that product. Currently it is methanol, but we'd like to leave the idea that we are a flexible company. We'll have opportunities to sell RNG in the future as well. So any sellable product that we will have, we will then kick back a royalty to the city. And we will fully fund the project. All we ask is the gas rights agreement in return. It's the landfill gas rights. So for example, the city currently owns the landfill and all the gas that comes off of it. So we would ask for the rights to that gas that comes off the landfill.
And for added context, the gas, TJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but the gas that the landfill produces is from the breaking down of the trash that sits in the landfill over years. And this is gas that otherwise would have no use. We don't use it. It's not something that we go and extract ourselves for any operation or any process. It's a very natural process, and it presents, being that we have a landfill, this presents us with an opportunity to essentially sell that, and that would net the landfill that increased revenue that TJ's mentioning.
That's correct.
I've heard a little bit about this, I've been online and sort of researched a few things in the past, not recently. And so it's really interesting, just never, I didn't know that we would ever see it here, that's great.
Mm-hmm. Typically, these projects happen at larger landfills, but with our mobile modular systems, we're able to take advantage of smaller landfills that have less flow, but we can still make them profitable for both the city and ourselves.
How long have you been doing
Me personally, I've been with the company for about a year, but M2X Energy is about 5 years old. Started in 2020, right around COVID.
this? So what are we?
So this proposal is a potential for us to enter that agreement that would approve a partnership with M2X upon deliberation and consideration around the processes that they're seeking the rights to, again, which is just the gas that naturally is produced in the landfill. We don't use it. The setup of the operation itself is pretty much a modular building in scale. So potentially you're looking at a trailer size setup that would extract this gas for the revenue that the landfill would get. So what we would have,
What sort of personnel are we looking at to help do this?
I want to say 3 people, if I'm
Yeah, so we would have 2 operators on site at all times. So just in the beginning, when we would be commissioning the project, we'd have a much larger team there to help support. We also have I'd like to mention there's a network operating system that we have that allows us to remotely track how the systems are doing and do maintenance ahead of time. So it'll give us kind of a predicted model of when things will need to be removed. And if a system, for example, does go down, we have a manufacturing facility in Florida that has extra systems where we can pull that out and then bring another system online so that it continuously runs.
What, if any, would be a, I don't wanna say a negative, but what, if anything, would be a negative for us?
I think the way the contract is set up, the only negative would be the cost initially. But I think what we can provide for funding initially will allow the city to not have to worry about it. We also pride ourselves on not having to burden the landfill team. So all the day-to-day operations would not change. We would try our best to stay away from everyone. So there really is no negative. It's for this initial non-binding agreement is just the first step in the process. But for the city specifically, that $50,000 award is just kind of a long-term show that we are interested in being partners for the long haul.
And what is the, I'm sorry, what is the startup? What would be the cost to the city initially, I mean?
So there's no initial cost to the city. However, this is the non-binding term sheet, but if we were to take the next step forward, it would be a gas rights agreement, which would be, after signing that with the city, you would receive a $50,000 signing bonus as a show of our gratitude for the city. And then from there, as part of the contract, it states that we will give the city 10% of all net revenue that comes from the project till the duration of the term.
In that same vein of questioning, and I'm sure this would do some good to provide clarity. So the amount that the city, I guess it would be projected to make from this is based on the amount of gas that's projected to be produced over a certain time, right?
Yes.
Right. Have you all, in that figure, calculated the percentage of maybe give or take how much gas will be produced? Because I know, like, if it's less gas, that means less revenue. If it's more gas, more revenue potentially. So
we have projections. When we revisited the site back in March, we had some projections based on what we expected to be. However, personally, I don't believe that those projections are 100% accurate, so we wouldn't really know the figures that you would be receiving on a quarterly basis until that well field and that system is in place. So we're seeing around 400 to 500 SCFM, and the landfill will continue to grow for the next few years.
yeah. Thank you.
SFM is what?
It's a standard cubic feet per minute. It's a measurement for the gas that will come out of the landfill.
Will you be employing local people to work out there? How many will you employ locally?
Our intention is to work with the community to hire people within it. We view ourselves as a partner for the city. At our first project in Effingham, Illinois, we were able to hire 2 people in that community to work as operators. So we'd be very willing to do that when the time comes. And that's also dependent on the size of the project. So this project may need 2 to 4, depending on the sizing and how it develops.
Explain to me what are you going to use for products to generate your gas?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, what are you going to use? What products are you going to use that we have to generate the gas that you need?
So the gas is already being produced by the landfill. It's just not being captured. So everything all the trash and everything that is aggregated within the landfill decomposes naturally and emits into the atmosphere. You can't see it. So what the system that we would input into the landfill is a well field, and it captures that gas, kind of like sucks it out of the ground, and then from there we would reroute the gas into our systems to generate methanol, which we can use as a maritime fuel.
So all the garbage that's going out in the landfill, you're going to take that and you're going to convert it into gas.
No, sir.
No.
Anything that's dying, decomposes, releases methane gas.
All right, that's where you're going to get that from.
Yes. So the methane, so the landfill gas is composed of methane, CO2, nitrogen, a few other things. So that process happens naturally. Where M2X can come in is we help capture that gas that's just being emitted into the atmosphere. So it's already there. We would just kind of aggregate all that gas together to use it for a beneficial use.
I got it.
Is it Hot Springs that's the closest here in Arkansas that has something like that? It's a city somewhere, I thought it was Hot Springs, but I'm not sure.
I'm not familiar with Hot Springs, but these projects are fairly common throughout the U.S., depending on the size of the landfill. And a lot of the larger commercial, like a waste management or Republic Services, they do these projects quite frequently.
Sounds good.
I have a couple of questions. I'm looking at your term sheet, and I'm just repeating this so for everybody's understanding, actually. I think I understand it. Our cost is really 2.5 million, but it comes out of the royalties, right?
Yes,
And we don't receive any royalties until the 2.5 million is paid.
yes.
So what we get is $50,000. And then, so in order for us to know how long it's going to take before we actually receive revenue, we would need some estimate as to how much your sales are going to be. And you don't feel comfortable with the number right now.
Well, I can get that number for you guys. I don't have I don't believe it's provided in the presentation or anything of that nature. But I can give a rough estimate of where we would be for that. We would expect it to take around 6 to 8 years probably to pay back the total well field. I'm not fully confident in that number because the well field is not in place. However, that's typically how long that number would go.
And one follow-up, what other cities are you servicing?
So our first project is in Effingham, Illinois. That project is with a corporate partner. And we have a few other landfills that are in development. One is in Richwoods, Missouri, and there are a few other in Texas. But we also have potential partnerships with anaerobic digesters, which also emit biogas, which is very similar to landfill gas, and it has similar properties. So that project in Effingham, Illinois is currently being commissioned. There are a few of our systems there, and the site in Richwoods, Missouri is currently also being developed, but that is at an earlier stage in the process.
One of the things that they're doing in this, for us to consider, is they're doing something that eventually the city is gonna have to be required to do. And I think Mr. Fields can explain that better than I can. When methane gas gets to a particular level, the city is required to not only to collect it and remove it, but the larger the landfill, the more waste that you bring in, the more it's going to decompose and the more it's going to produce the byproduct, which is methane gas. As I said earlier to Mr. Messina, anything that's dying, when you eat food every day, when it decomposes, it produces methane gas. You know, its flatulence is very similar to what is being produced out there. But the issue is, at some point on the regulatory scheme, the landfill has to put in infrastructure to begin to collect methane gas, because the larger the gas mass is, the more risk there could be, and the city would have to start collecting the gas to remove it to prevent some natural disaster. But if I may have some indulgence, I think Mr. Fields can address that issue as the city's landfill engineer.
Hello, my name is Philip Fields. I'm with Fields & Associates. My company does the landfill consulting services in engineering and geology. But what Mr. Bowley was explaining is correct. What we're currently looking at is expanding the landfill further. So we're going to increase the volume out there, which is going to probably throw us into this position where we're going to have to construct a landfill gas collection system in the near future. So by doing this, we can, cut the cost off the front end, get this expansion done, continue the landfill going forward. I believe underneath the last annual engineering inspection report, we had about 4 to 5 years remaining, maybe 8 years of remaining life on the landfill. So we're at a point where we need to expand it, get additional volume, and by doing so, we're going to, of course, throw us into those possible regulations of having to construct that system. So there is a distinct advantage of having this company come in to do that, and at least cut some of that cost, and we can keep going forward with the landfill.
Mr. Fields, would you clarify one thing? You said 4 to 5 years of life.
Yeah.
You mean permitted life?
Right, permitted life. So it's maybe 5 to 8 years maximum. And currently with the regulatory environment, it's going to take us at least that long, at least 4 years, maybe 5 years to get that permit expanded. So we're currently starting that process probably in the next month, and by having this in place, it really helps out on the permitting process.
For the sake of the listening audience, the city has one of the largest landfills in the state. The issue is, we can only permit per regulations, and only a portion is permitted per time that we do landfill expansion. And so currently, under the current design, we have approximately 4 to 5 years left, and then we have to go through a permit to expand. And that's what I was trying to make sure we cleared up. The landfill has much more age than 4 or 5 years, since we have to go through a permitting process.
Right. Yeah, we've got ample space to expand it. We just have to get it underneath the permit and get that volume approved by the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality.
Thank you, Mr. Fields.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to add, unless there are any questions, or it's not assuming that we're done with questions, but I definitely think that the model for this agreement would be a deferred incentive. We would not see the bulk of these funds right away, but I do think that that's okay. This is a natural resource that we're not capitalizing off of right now. So even the withholding of the royalties, I definitely just want to make sure that we think about it from a deferred incentive. That it's money that the city would eventually benefit from entering this agreement that would surpass that withheld royalty. Are there any other questions or comments, discussion for Mr. TJ?
When will this go into effect?
How could you talk about how soon you all, whenever we enter an agreement, the timeline for how long that would take for you all to set up and mobilize?
We would like to start as soon as we can, once the agreement is signed, but I think an accurate estimation would be probably 12 to 18 months, just to develop the well field, and then we also have to deal with some permitting, like was mentioned, and there's some things that are out of our control, but we'd like to get the site as quick as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
One of the questions for the city council is, it's above you're giving exclusive franchise, it's above state regulations as well as city regulations as to bidding. And so you will have to consider that this is a 50-year agreement. Most franchises, when they're making this significant investment, want a significant time because of the initial investment. And those are things for you all to consider. This is akin to your utilities. When you previously did investments, you gave infrastructure to Entergy, and which used to be AP&L at the time you did the franchise. And also, we've done one to Arkla, which is now Summit, years ago. But for the invest in infrastructure, they want a long-term agreement. But those are things for you all to consider.
Thank you, Attorney. Is there any more discussion while we have a representative here? Any more questions? If not, so what we will do is make sure that this gets adequate time for review for our city council members, and we will hold a vote. But we definitely thank you for being here today and your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next order of business, item number 2. We have a couple proposals from the landfill. Mr. Reginald Wilson is here. This is also in the red folder as well. If you flip to page, excuse me, this is halfway through your packet, but this is a proposal for equipment cost. I'll yield to Mr. Wilson.
This is a proposal that we have in here for a 716 dozer. It's a used dozer. Let me say this first. We are not trying to put nothing on the general fund. This dozer will be paid for through the landfill's revenue. We are not trying to put any more debt on this city. All of this will be paid for by landfill revenue. I put a copy of our last inspection in that folder. And that last inspection states that we had no violations between ADQ. We are meeting and talking to folks every other day, trying to get our road built out there. We have done a lot of things out there with our landfill foreman, Mr. Bruce Simpson. He's here. He's been working diligently out there, and he is the reason why we have these 0 violations in this inspection. So, how the landfill fund is going to pay for this dozer, I would bring Mr. Fields up here to give some updates of current projects that we have going on now that's going to pay for this.
And starting in August, we've got a possible project coming up, what's more than likely, with petroleum contaminated soils from YCAMP. And I've been working with the consulting firm that's involved on this project. It could be upwards of 15,000 tons of soil that'll come into the landfill, and we're looking at about $35 per ton for that soil. So it's just basically, they bring it in, place it, and it's revenue for the landfill. The advantage of having this dozer at this point in time would be when that soil comes in, we don't tie up another piece of landfill equipment. We can get it, laid down, put in place. Then also too, we have the benefit of this type of dozer to do road work, which keeps us in further compliance with the regulations. So it's pretty much a win-win on all sides of this, with this revenue coming in with this project, the use of that dozer, keeping everything in compliance. It just keeps moving the landfill forward. Bruce has done an exceptional job out there. I just did an inspection, and so, just giving him the tools to work with, just makes his job a lot easier, and just keeps everything where we need to be, and keep this, keep from going backwards where we were about 3 or 4 years ago, where we were underneath the consent order and having all those issues.
Mr. Fields, since you mentioned that, will you go through the significant strides the landfill has made? In 2023, there was no equipment, it was in terrible shape, and we, as a city, were placed on a consent administrative order. We're nearing the end of that consent administrative order, and all the equipment that's being purchased, and the regulation 22 that requires the city not only have equipment, but also backup equipment. Can you explain that, please?
Yes, yeah. In 2023, we're basically down to no equipment. I mean, the landfill was in very poor shape. There's very little cover placed over the landfill waste. There was issues with stormwater controls, the issues with the roads. They placed waste off of the lined area. I mean, there was just multiple violations that occurred at that time, which prompted the state to step in and do the consent administrative order, identify these items that need to be addressed. Part of my inspection today was to go out and verify that all those terms of that order had been met, and they have. And it was through this, this hard work of everybody on this team to, get that equipment in place with Reggie, Bruce out there, working diligently to correct those violations. And now here we are 2 or 3 years later, we see the fruits of that effort. And so it's, that landfill is a major asset for this city. Without it, as it is, we'd be in a lot worse financial shape than having to haul the trash to, say, Tunica or Crittenden County or someplace like that. So it's imperative just to keep moving forward and keep it in compliance, and make sure we don't run into these issues again.
All right.
So in meeting with ADQ, when we met, as you talk about this equipment, Chief, I'm sorry, it's habit I call you Chief Wilson. Yeah,
Go ahead.
One of the things that they were very concerned about was us not only having adequate equipment, as in the beginning of 2023, we didn't have any,
Right.
but also to have backup equipment. Is that
Exactly.
part of your reason for asking for this?
Exactly, exactly.
So the tonnage that you were describing, the 15,000 tons, would that make the, which contract are you asking for? You asking for the city? We would have to waive competitive bidding, but which contract are we discussing? The term, you had two different terms in here.
The terms are in there.
No, length of terms, which one would you request?
Let me look at it. I guess we would go with the 60 months.
Since you requested pay for it from landfill funds, you said we can go with it. Can the landfill support the 48 months?
I think it. I was
Yes.
gonna say- Yeah. I was
Yes.
gonna say 48. I think
Yes, we can support the 48 months. With the additional revenue that's gonna be coming to the landfill, what Mr. Fields was talking about. We probably would be able to pay for that dozer in full within probably 4 months.
Say that again?
We
You
would
said
be-
4 months?
4 months, yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir. 4 months.
I don't have a lot of discussion or questions about this myself. I don't want to make that mean that you shouldn't either. The landfills fund is, it's healthy, and I think that the letter about, the letter from Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality and the consent order and the developments that have happened at the landfill have all proven and shown that the landfill is headed in the right direction, and they're going that way because of great leadership, and I've had time to tell that to Mr. Wilson. I do believe in being in compliance where we're supposed to be, and so the landfill does have the necessary funds to cover not only this piece of equipment, but the shorter term, which is the 48-month term. I'm in support of this use of equipment for the increased capacity, and so I'll leave it to the floor for extra questions or discussion around.
Yes, sir.
The equipment that we need to keep in reserve, how much would that cost?
It's in your packet there, Mr.
Where in the packet?
If you have to turn about,
On the lead there.
you're about 4 pages away, Mr. Messina, so if you turn in your red packet about 4 to 5 pages, you'll see at the bottom.
We didn't have this prior to tonight, so.
Yes,
it's kind of
sir.
difficult for us to do.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
For the sake of the listening audience, what we're looking at is a 48-month loan. The loan amount is $112,000. To pay in 48 months would be $2,715. The 60 months would be $2,236.
Doesn't take a whole lot to number
Director
these
Wilson
things.
believes they can be paid for in 4 months.
Let's see, 48 months loan is approximately.
We just received it this evening, so if you all desire to approve it, I'd have to bring an ordinance back to the next city council meeting.
The ordinance is already done to waive competitive bidding.
Ms. Simpson did that already?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there any, that's for the streets, that was for the streets.
She did it. She told me she had did it.
Does she know too?
That's of the dozer, is that what you're looking for?
While Mr.,
This was for 21,000.
while Attorney Valley's reviewing the possible drafted ordinance. Is there any discussion or other questions?
That was probably for the uniforms.
That's the uniforms, I don't see.
That's a
that.
uniform.
Hold on.
Ms. Miller, I don't know if you're looking for in your packet. I think it was shared from the office directly to staff. I think that's what we're trying to confirm right now. Yeah. Are you able to stay tight for a moment while we make sure that we have the ordinance? Are you able to stay tight?
Is that the 112,000 you're looking for?
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's just a,
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rand.
Yes, this is precise ordinance, yes, sir. It's an ordinance waiving competitive bidding in the amount of $112,000.
And I take back what I said. I have one question. Could you just explain to the body why in particular this this invoice over other potential options? So why this invoice over other potential options in terms of just the
Well, this is, we're trying to save money, just like everybody else. It's a used dozer. That dozer was brought down to us to use. We had a mechanical failure in a big dozer. That particular company brought a dozer down for us to use while our other dozer was inoperable. So our foreman, Mr. Simpson, liked the dozer. He said it was good and powerful, so, and it has very low hours on it. So that's why we decided to go with that dozer.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
If I may indulge, Chief,
Yes.
Director Wilson.
Yes, sir.
One of the issues that we formerly had too is we didn't have sufficient landfill equipment dozers.
Exactly.
And this is a landfill specific type of dozer, one that
Right.
can handle
Right. We have to have a backup equipment under it's Arkansas code now, instead of regulations, it's an Arkansas code.
For sake of the council, listen on it. Prior to 2023, the city had regular bulldozers out there, and they couldn't do the job. And we were required to get heavy-duty equipment, and that's part of the reason why we need this type of bulldozer.
Right.
So what do
Exactly.
you think the last you need?
There's an ordinance here, if you desire to, place this ordinance on its third and final reading the title only, suspending the rules, then you may do so if you want to adopt this. Madam Clerk, what ordinance number is this?
10,
It's ordinance number 10, 2026, if you so desire. Seems like there may be another discussion.
Why are you looking at me?
I was looking at you.
Okay, because you know my level of discomfort on financial matters. I mean,
Right.
just
One of the things, we keep getting notes for all of us. For all of us, we're not speaking into the mics, so we're not projecting and people not hearing us. So I would say for all of us, speaking to the mics.
I understand the need for the equipment at the landfill. I think all of these, anything that involves money, we should have a larger discussion about our current financial situation. So it should all fit under the umbrella of where are we now and where are we going. And I say this because 2 weeks ago, the clerk on Tuesday before Friday said we had $105,000, and that was on a pay week, and that wasn't enough to make payroll at that moment in time. And so I have a level of discomfort without actually, I hear everybody saying, we got it, we got it, we got it. Can we have something that shows it? Some documentation.
If it's appealing to the rest of the body, Madam Clerk, would you share landfill account status with the body? And that can be something that we could send out.
I can
Yeah,
send it
we can
out,
send
yes,
that out. I do agree with Councilman Effley that being prudent in financial purchases is the best way to go, and right now, that's the only way we need to be going. But as Director Wilson said at the top of this presentation, this would not be coming out of general funds, and so that's part of the precedent I want to make sure we continue to set, that certain funds are used for exactly what they're supposed to be for. If the funds are for landfill and landfill needs equipment, that's the fund we should be looking at, and I want to make sure that that's the fund that can support this, while simultaneously making sure that we are still being prudent with our general budget. But we will get a presentation or a handout from account summary from the landfill so that we can all have a look at that. And it's my hope that everyone's in support of seeing that the landfill can take on this piece of equipment.
From a practical standpoint, Director Wilson, how long are they giving you, are they holding the equipment, how long are they giving the city to make a decision on it?
Not long. Not long.
Look, I don't mind having a special meeting if necessary. But, and I understand the premise that you're speaking, you're going forward on, but the reality is the only department that's self-sustaining in this city right now is water. Everybody else depends on general funds for something or another, every single one of them. And so anything that if we overstep in any department, it's gonna be another drag on the general fund, so.
I'm not asking the general fund for a penny.
Well, you're not, but the landfill, at least last time I understood, is not self-sustaining.
Okay.
And if it's not self-sustaining, you may not be taking money from the general fund, but to the extent that the landfill, the general fund contributes to something that happens at the landfill, money becomes money.
Well, the general fund pays all, the landfill account pays all the bills for the landfill, so I don't know of any other entity, the general fund, that's paying any bills for the landfill,
I can
other than the landfill account.
Yeah, I concur with that. And maybe I was just trying to think about the specific number for income that comes in monthly for you all. How much do you all bring into the landfill per month?
We make a deposit every Friday, and that deposit is anywhere from $35,000 to $40,000.
And that's every Friday, correct?
That's every Friday.
And monthly, we're looking at, I think, 34,000 roughly going out. So, yeah, for bills. So the landfill has the funds, and they are pretty much self-sufficient. Yes, there are other departments that, general fund does support, but for the landfill, Director Wilson has done a great job of revitalizing where we were, as we've heard a couple of times. And that's not just in terms of getting us off of a consent order with the team, but also just financially making sure that those funds are where they're supposed to be. So this is, I don't say it lightly, this is a avenue where we have a need within a department that is sufficient, they have the funds, and it's compliance. And so I think we have to look at it from that standpoint.
Like I said, I don't mind a special meeting if he's time restricted, but I would like some documentation.
We will expedite that. I see some nods. Is that the?
But listen now, there's other people.
Well, I see some nods in agreement.
From a practical standpoint, there's not enough votes to suspend the rules. From a practical standpoint, if you're saying you're not gonna do it, that essentially stops it unless you're gonna read the entire ordinance today and come back on separate days to do it.
What's the earliest that we can have a meeting?
I'm available whenever.
I guess it would be how
Except
soon?
Friday. I gotta go out of town on Friday.
Potentially Thursday, and I'm sure this will require communication with our members that aren't here too. So, following this meeting, if this body isn't, well, we can, I understand that now, but I'll send out correspondence to see if we can all do a Thursday meeting to get a special vote, and we will make sure that the presentation is prepared for financial summary for the landfill.
From the practice standpoint, I guess, are the four of you all available Thursday? I can understand that.
He said he's not.
You're not available Thursday? Are you available Thursday?
Thursday?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I can do it Thursday, because
Are you available Thursday, Mr.
Yeah.
Singer? Ms. Miller? I'll make myself available, man.
Sounds good.
okay.
And we can just notify the other two that we're meeting at Thursday at 6 o'clock?
6,
Can you move it up a little bit, or is that gonna be hard?
I mean, I can do any time of the day on Thursday. I don't think I have anything on. I do not. I can do any time of the day on Thursday.
Well, let's move it up earlier than that.
Does 5 p.m. work?
What about 4:30?
I don't know if I'll be back, I have court out of town, but the ordinance is already prepared, if you all wanna do it, then that's fine.
Is that okay, 4:30?
I can do it anytime. Thursday.
Can we say Thursday at 4:30?
That's fine.
Thursday at 4:30.
4:30?
4:30 on Thursday? Okay.
And I'll make sure I send out correspondence. Before Director Wilson leaves the podium, is there any other question while he's here, or any other discussion or comments?
He has another competitive bidding waiver
Thank
ordinance for
you.
uniforms.
Yeah.
While he's there.
Do you want to discuss
Yeah,
the
we
uniform?
can go,
Thank you, Mr.
we'll go right on and do that. We contacted UniFirst Uniforms. At the current, we have no uniforms for the men at the landfill. The yearly note from UniFirst is under the yearly note is under the mayor's spending limit, but this company is asking for a 5-year contract with us, which puts it over the mayor's spending limit. And like I said, I'll say it again, we don't want to put anything on the general fund. All of this stuff that I'm asking for will be paid out of the landfill fund, not the general fund.
The quoted price for this is the second to last page in your packet, just in case you, yeah, there you go, you got it. Second to last page in your packet. And so, like the bulldozer for this, the landfill is operating where they should be, getting very close to coming off the consent order, and I believe it's very fitting to make sure that we have a sense of pride in uniforms for our men and women that work there. So. I have no further comment on this except for support.
On that invoice is a monthly quote, what it will cost monthly and what it will cost yearly.
And for the folks at home that aren't looking at the packet, monthly, this will roughly be $351.82, and yearly, that would total $4,215.36. Specifically for uniforms,
It's on 5-year contract.
And one point of consideration I've taken in, especially as we've talked to the water department, purchasing uniforms, renting uniforms, depending on turnover, depending on size of department, renting makes sense because those can be turned back in, as opposed to potential employees getting those uniforms and walking off with them. So
Yes,
What are we
sir.
using now for uniforms?
We don't have anyone that supplies us with uniforms. Any company that supplies us with uniforms now.
Okay, so it's a requirement that we all have uniforms.
Yes, we need to have uniforms. Yes, sir.
All right.
I mean, in that we're coming back Thursday, is this something that we could just go ahead and handle all
We don't
at
have
one
enough
time?
money to pay for uniforms, they're taking out of general fund.
No ordinance for
Had
the
the ordinance up there for this to waive competitive bidding on this also. So it's on you to vote on.
We're the only department that don't have uniforms, all the other.
No, sir, the water department doesn't have uniforms, the street and sanitation department doesn't have uniforms,
code
and we
enforcement.
don't have uniforms.
So y'all addressing this tonight, or, I'm sorry,
No, I
or is
mean,
this something y'all gonna address Thursday?
Are we wanting to look at this for an extra day and bring it back Thursday, or are we ready to move forward with it today?
I was just thinking we might as well just wrap it all up at the same time. And I think it's a great idea. I mean, I would imagine that the uniforms that they have to have are specific to hazard materials and all that. So, I mean, I'm for it, but I'm just like, why don't we just wrap all this up Thursday?
Sounds good to me.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. We will bring a special vote. We'll have a special meeting on Thursday at 4:30 to address both uniforms for landfill as well as new equipment in the form of a bulldozer. And please join us on Thursday just for any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving right along, our next order of business is just a quick note. So this is Airport Commission fiscal year 26 budget, council approval of budget. I requested the annual budget from the Airport Commission. I do not know and don't want to speculate when the airport budget may have last been accepted by this body, but upon audit findings, we are going to make sure that that step is taken this year so that we know exactly what those funds are and what they're going towards, as well as the sum of that budget. So that is just a quick note, and when we do get that budget, that will be put before you. Are there any questions about that? And that was just at the advice of the auditor that was here 2 weeks ago. If there's no discussion, we'll move right along. On your desk, you also have waste disposal ordinance. This is new business item number 4. This is an ordinance for review to regulate disposal of items for street and sanitation pickup. This is the copy that the chief of staff has brought around. I did ask Mr. Wilson, who just left, as well as Mr. Strada, to make sure that they also take a look at this as well, just to be able to provide some expertise on their experience and how they deal with these pickups and drop-offs in their respective areas. This is a continued conversation in part from what was discussed on KJIW radio last week. The city attorney, myself, and code enforcement talked to Mr. Elijah Mundy about code enforcement and the new areas that we're trying to norm in the sense of enforcing code. Part of that conversation was defining what items can and cannot be put out and how those items are to be handled. And so I do thank the city attorney for drafting this copy of a potential ordinance to regulate that.
And prior discussion on KJIW and our private discussion with the mayor and code enforcement, we've been dealing with this issue for a while, but we needed to put something in writing for you all to begin to digest, and hopefully we can do something before the end of the month. When I emailed you all this week, I just said this was something for you all to review and to look at, and so you have opportunity to dissect it And so we can begin to adopt it. But hopefully by the next meeting, we'll be ready to adopt it and finish the conversations. Because there are a lot of questions about bulk waste. Most of the questions that we're getting are about both bulk waste, including mattresses, couches, and all those type of things. And how do we do it? Now, in drafting this, I looked at Fayetteville's ordinance, Jonesboro's ordinance, Pine Bluff. I looked at several cities to see what they do. And most cities do allow citizens to place mattresses and other bulk waste on the side of the road, but they put a limit on how many you can do per year. And there's some accounting forms that we've had to look to see as to how we would do so. But as we said then, we have to make things narrowly tailored for the city of Helena-West Helena and what's best for us. And we invite any discussion relating to it.
If there is no discussion at this current moment, I just echo City Attorney's comments. We just ask that you review this because we do want to place this in front of you for an official adoption.
A quick question, so if we go ahead and adopt this, and I was hearing what you said about mattresses and so forth. So on College Street, there's a toilet and mattresses and some other stuff. So what is the streets and sanitation department going to go ahead and pick up all of that stuff soon anyway, even if it's prohibited, or how are we gonna handle that?
Currently, you have no definition as to what's prohibited and what's not. And that's part of the issue why people are putting whatever on the side of the road. At this point, we have no limit. We don't charge the citizens extra money for any of that. And so whatever people put out there that is acceptable by state law is taken to the landfill and disposed of. When I say acceptable by state law, the mayor gave you all a list of waste that's excluded per state law, including things like electronics and refrigerators and things containing Freon and et cetera that could not be disposed of in the landfill. But most things that are placed on the side of the road, they are. We hadn't addressed things such as how you put limbs out, what limbs, what size, what diameter, what length, whether you use contractor, whether a contractor has to, if you contract someone to do it, those are the type of discussions we have to get through. Because even with that, a contractor may have taken those toilets and they should be the person that has to pay for it versus the individual. And so those are the kind of discussions we were trying to have to fully define what our policy is. But as is, to answer your question in short form, the city right now has to pick it up.
And I do want to add that just reminded me, I did have a chance to talk briefly about this with Director Wilson before the meeting started, and he just, upon his skimming of it, said that he might recommend maybe having a day where we designate certain items to be picked up that you can put out on this day, if not just completely regulating what you can and cannot put out through this ordinance. And in the event that you still have residents that might put certain things out, that's what we talked about on KJIW was that's the beauty of having departments that communicate, because you have a code enforcement department that can then report out on the scene of somebody that has an item that's not supposed to be there. So part of this is making sure the departments are also communicating effectively, and I think that there are a couple of ways that this could look, which is why we asked for a review, for you to review it, so we can make that determination together.
But if I may, not to belabor the point, what we're trying to seek from you all is you hear from constituents, you have your own individual thoughts. What is the best message? How do you want to see the city to handle these items? Whether we should charge fees for them, whether we should not charge fees, what things are reasonable, what things are unreasonable. And we want to have the ordinance to reflect that.
I'm in favor of the ordinance personally. I mean, a few months ago, I shared that I know the people that I had talked to really didn't have any idea. They said they had no idea what they could and could not even put out on the curb. So I'm glad to see this.
I've had a lot of people contact me. They pay their sanitation fees, they pay to have their garbage picked up, and yet we aren't picking it up. You know, and we should not charge these people for services we're not rendering. We need to give some type of rebate, I think, to the public for those times we haven't picked up haven't been able to do it. We need to make some type of compensation. You stop and think, you're paying a bill and you're not getting the services that you're paying for. It's not fair. This is what the people are telling me, and they're upset about it.
I mean, that's a conversation I'm definitely open to having at this table. And I think the one thing we would have to engage is, as a body, understanding the impact of that on, and I don't prioritize profit over people. I want to start there, but I just want, as we talk about numbers at this table, thinking about the impact that has on the income into that department. But yes, I do agree with you, Mr. St. Columbia, that it is our duty to offer quality services that people are paying for and expected to receive. And I think we all know in a couple of instances that there have been some.
Yeah, like on some of my stuff, they didn't pick up for a month, you know, and then some for 2 or 3 weeks. And I mean, I saw that. And some people can't afford to be paying and not receiving the services, and then when they do get it, the trash is all over the streets, and dogs get in the cans, and, you know, it creates a big problem.
Now, if I may, Mr. St. Columbia, a rebate is legal so long as it's applied neutrally and fairly to everyone. For instance, there are cities that have done rebates just for, let's get the citizens a break on their next bill on your ordinance, and you say, well, it's $5, $10, whatever it is. I don't know what type of rebate you're trying to discuss, but it would have to be neutral, it had to be equal to everyone, and no one could be treated favorably. And so that would be the total issue. Because when trash is not being picked up, it's not just one house, it's everybody on the route. And if commercial trash is not being picked up, it's everybody on the route, typically. Now there are some anecdotal things where people are saying, people have these anecdotal things where they're saying, well, no, I didn't get my trash picked up for this day or that day. And I have not been out to verify any of that. I know that there's fodder around the community about that. That would be something that would be addressed better to the mayor's office and sanitation as to whose trash is being picked up and who's not. However, if you want to do a rebate, you'd have to look at a number, what the financial cost is, and you'd have to pass an ordinance saying that for either 1 month or 2 months or however many that you're going to give a rebate for to the citizens for this purpose, and look at a dollar amount, total dollar amount. And that's how you would do it. But that would be something for the council to do, but you must make an informed decision. As Mr. Atherley continues to say with every financial discussion we have, and I think part of it is too, Mr. Atherley sat and testified for legislative audit. The legislative audit was clear to all of us that we need to be making decisions to reduce debt, pay bills, and do things, and they were watching it closely because the question that he was asked several times is, what action did you take?
What are you going to do? And thankfully, I don't have to go back this year. But the issue with sanitation, of course, is we're paying contractors to help pick up garbage. We're barely we made payroll some way or another. And every 2 weeks, payroll comes back around. And I hear all is well, but I don't see that. So to do a rebate, you're talking about giving back money from a source that you probably don't even have. So I think the way out of this is to fix the problem, so that people's trash gets picked up in a timely fashion. I don't know that we're able to give people money back. I mean, when you just look at on a whole, and I guess that's what I keep saying is we're not able to look at it on a whole. We need to have a meeting where we thoroughly take a deep dive into finances, and I don't. I'm beyond bank balance decisions now. I mean, because there's some obligation that you don't know about when you're making a bank balance decision. So,
in that vein, I think that what we might have to do is, I know we've always called them budget workshop, but we need more like a caucus, where we sit down like we're getting ready to do a budget and go through everything so we understand where we are. I think here's a practical problem. From one hand, the city has to get some things done. You have to provide services to the citizens. And that's what the mayor is trying to do, provide service to the citizens. The conflict is the city council also has to provide finances and make sure that we're trying to pay off these bills and et cetera. At one point, the mayor was getting a lawsuit every week. And we've slowed down, but we're getting threats of lawsuits. And so one of the things he's keenly aware of, I'm keenly aware of, is the lawsuits. And I have a list that I want to give you all, because the list is, we at one point had 26, now we're down to 21. But we received an email today, we may be getting 22. And so it's just the nature of what's going on that we have before us. And so in that vein, it's one of those things, I think a rebate is a good idea. Practically, I don't know what the city can afford to do without greater information. But if that's something the city council is interested in doing, I think you have to make an informed decision to do it. All of us are citizens as well, while we represent the community. When my trash is not picked up, it's one of those things that's frustrating. I think the thing about it is, one thing I have to commend is the people on my route. I laugh because they greet me with a smile. They're very, they've always been very professional when they talk to me. And I'm typically trying to get the trash to them, and they wait till I get more trash. Because my trash lately has been supposed to pick up on Friday, but picked up on Mondays. And so, but we have a pleasant exchange each Monday morning.
I do want to just add to that, and I will put that on an item to make sure that we revisit the idea of a rebate, to just give that thorough conversation. But there are 3 trucks that Mr. Strader has turned in to us to look at. So the idea or potential of having new trucks hit the ground soon is possible. So we want to make sure we do our due diligence to make sure the trucks are up to par, but also that we have the adequate training. And I just think it's, from my assessment, the services are not just simply a matter of what equipment we have and don't have. And I just want to say that so that that's clear. But we were on, is there any other comment or question about waste disposal ordinance? That's where we were. Any other, we're going to revisit that after review.
So on the 16th, we're going to deal with that?
Correct, yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we would not be able to waive the bidding for the street repairs tonight either. Am I
We have the
wrong?
ordinance?
Yeah, so that one's in the actual packet.
Yeah, that ordinance was emailed, the street repairs, for
Correct.
waiving competitive bidding.
You have it.
Yeah, you have that.
But do we have enough to waive that today? We have enough to waive?
If,
Oh.
well, I
see what
guess the
you're
question
saying.
is,
Yeah, I see, I got you. I got you. I don't want to jump the gun, okay.
you don't.
Our next order of business is ordinance for street repairs. And this is waiving competitive bidding for Springdale, Old Little Rock Road, and Tulip Circle. So these were streets that we had Mr. Ken Weiland, local engineer, present for us at the last meeting. These repairs will be done. They were approved at our last meeting by this body, and those repairs will be done by the funds that are coming out of the street fund. I do believe it's imperative and it's important that we start to use those funds to have small ongoing projects, because I think for all of us here, we see the potholes, we drive around them, and so I think some of us, it's fair to say, we've hit them. We have to spend those funds on street-related projects, nothing else, not bills, not payroll, not debt. Those funds are only for street projects. So the ordinance that you have, this is what these chief of staff passed around to you all earlier. This single packet is the drafted ordinance for the waiving of bidding. And that total amount for what was quoted from the engineer last week, it's in section 1B, but it was 14,000.
The practical issue that Mr. Ethelred, Mayor Whitfield, and I were laughing about. To suspend the rules, that takes 4 votes. Mr. Ethelred at the last meeting said he was opposed to it, and we looked at him and we started laughing because we wondered, did we have enough? We were not trying to, this is a serious matter, we're not trying to make jest of it, but Mr. Ethelred said he's not voting for it either. The mayor, if he's counted, the number goes up, so we don't have enough to waive competitive bidding tonight, but this ordinance needs to be passed.
And to that, I'll restate, I don't want people to mischaracterize what I said, though some people may not have heard what I said last week. We have no financial guidance about our street funds at this point. And I'll clarify one issue that I didn't last week. You're right, street funds are for street projects, but street funds are also for the street department. These funds fund the entire department. It's not just pavement, it's not just asphalt. And so without any financial guidance as to where we are, my suggestion last week and today is that we take the cheapest way to repair those streets and make them safe until we have some guidance as to where we're going and where we stand. And that is my opposition to that. And that's been my position on every single thing that comes in front of the city. We don't have any financial guidance. We shouldn't be making, it's kind of reckless to make the decision. Bank balance decisions, we've done that, we did that for years. Didn't turn out well. Everybody, I can testify, is mad at me when they come in front of this body and ask for money. Employees, contract, whatever. Because my answer to everyone has been consistent. I don't know that we have the money, and until we can show we do, we're in a financial bind that dictates that we should find out first. But I intend to be consistent on this issue. Unless it's a dire emergency, I intend to be consistent on every single financial matter until we can ascertain where we are and have some financial guidance. I think it's reckless for us to, and these streets need to be repaired. I make no bones about that. But there's a cheaper way to do it at this point. And so that's where I stand on this. And thank you. I want to make sure that's clarified, because I don't want people to go and say he doesn't want to fix the street. It's not what I said. I don't want to give a Cadillac repair. I want to do the cheaper repair.
What that ordinance is what?
We don't have enough votes on it to suspend the rules.
Because on the 3 of you,
Yeah.
you need 4 votes to suspend the rules.
Gotta have 4, how many votes?
4.
4 votes. That takes 2/3. And so, from a practical standpoint, if the mayor voted, that takes the number to 7, so 4 is not 2/3 of 7. So it needs 4 city council members.
We're gonna do this next week or a week after?
So that I will put this. I will likely put this on the agenda for
Think we can do it Thursday?
potentially Thursday. And I just want to add. So the street funds, the balance of the street funds account was $303,000. And correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Clerk, but we get approximately $50,000 per month at least. Every other. So. About 50,000? 50 to 60,000. The compromise here for me is that I recognize that the financial position of the city is dire and we don't have endless funds to fix endless projects. But in scope, $14,000 to fix 3 urgent areas is the right thing to do. And I think that to me is a happy medium, because we're not going to get dangerously close to maxing out No, I'm not asking for 150,000. Not asking, and this is just for the body, not to you, Mr. Anthony.
So are you saying for these three places that we're talking about, $14,000 will take care of it?
Okay, that's what the
Yes.
engineer. Yes, that's what the engineer quoted us for that.
Okay.
Your budget has $50,000 for street repairing. The reason why your budget has $50,000 for street repair is because street money doesn't just go in the ground. Street lights, street-related projects, people, equipment, gas and oil, all of those things come out of your street money. And so it's not $300,000 to put on the street. It's $300,000 for the street department. That's why I keep using the word financial guidance. Where are we? What are our oncoming obligations? And if you use your budgeted amount as your guidance, you're going to use 1/3 of your budgeted amount on this project for the year. So for every other street in town, you're about to use nearly 1/3 of your money. So I'm using every opportunity. I want to clarify what I'm saying, right? Because I think people may leave this conversation thinking that the street department has $300,000 and all you do with that is pave streets. That's not accurate. It runs your entire department, every aspect of it.
Any other comment, question?
I'm just curious, Miss Sandy, do you have any contributions to this conversation? None?
I'll ask the question, have I misstated, because I try to make everything I say as accurate as possible at this table. Have I misstated any fact?
No, Mr. Anthony, you haven't, and if you want me to say it, you're right, the street money is just not street paving. There's everything else that goes into it, equipment repair, gas, oil, grease, uniforms, if they have them, or whatever. And you have to allow for emergencies, and with the way fuel is increasing, fuel's gonna be high. At the present time, we're not taking the street fund payroll out of the street, but we could, but we're not right now. We're paying it out of general. But money's extremely tight, and it's gonna be tight. We don't have any money to spare, to speak of, and I hope when you do have this caucus, you really get down to it and talk about what we have and what we can do and what we're not gonna have. Because this is only June, folks, and we're getting into the hot season. And you're gonna be looking at a lot of emergencies, possibly. You're gonna, we just need to spend what little money we have smartly.
And to what you said, you clarified a point that I just figured in my head. I'm thinking $50,000 to $60,000 a month. We're in June, we got 300 grand. We're not spending the money that comes in the streets for payroll, and we're spending it out of general fund, which explains why we can barely make payroll out of general fund. So this is what I was trying to tell you about the landfill. When the landfill director, when I almost called him chief as well, when he said we're paying it out of landfill funds, and I said every department is dependent except for water on the general fund. This is exactly what I was saying. So what you have is a situation where you got a lot of money in street, but they're not paying their people, according to what Ms. Ramsey just said. So the general fund is paying their people, so they're not self-sufficient. So in order for them to have $300,000, the general fund is taking on some burden that perhaps you can manage it how you want to, but the general fund is taking on some street burden.
The general fund pays the payroll for fire, police, street, sanitation, landfill, code enforcement, administration,
Exactly.
and elected.
And that's why we have to have a deeper discussion about. I get the feeling sometimes that we have, when she said $105,000 and payroll was on Friday, I was like, whoa. But I didn't get that response from anybody else. And I'm thinking, you should be concerned. Everybody should be concerned. We got payroll on Friday. And I don't know how big it is, and I don't know how much money she has, but every 2 weeks you have payroll that comes around. You have these huge obligations, like you got lot fee, you got all these other things that come, and We are doing a tap dance. So the discussion is about street. I don't want to get it too far away from the street discussion. My suggestion 2 weeks ago is that we take the cheaper method, so because we don't have any, I say guidance as to where we're going, and we look at long-term solutions when we get in position. I think there's a real discussion that we ought to have about claims and where we're headed in the future. Because if we start to project out, people don't like to be told no, and I get that. Everybody wants to think everything is all right. We have enough money to do all the things that we want to do, but from my perspective, that's not accurate. And so, no matter what happens, whether people like it or don't like it, I'm ready to say no if we don't know where it's going to put us. And so, to this project, I think the short-term solution is better because you're hearing the numbers and the facts right here. And you got 300,000 in street, but you really don't have 300,000 in street. I mean, you're not doing the things that you said in your budget you were going to do from street. So the general fund is taking on that burden. And then that explains why some of those claim numbers are going up.
I mean, the street fund is never, I don't know if the street fund, the last time the street fund paid the salaries, I don't think that's been recent. But to that point, when the auditor came, that was a consideration that we're taking into, that's something we're taking into consideration now, potentially paying street department salaries out of the street department. But I don't, to my impression, that's not necessarily new.
But I think that's what's in the budget, that we're going to pay salaries out of street fund money.
Yeah, I mean, like, dumb question. So, Miss Sandy, when you said that we don't pay street salaries out of the street department fund, why not?
What the treasurer usually does is he when he gets to the year end, he backs the things out. We cut all the checks out of the general fund, and then Derek would apply them at the end of the year, but it's kind of an offset, but I don't get any actual money out of the street fund to put into the general fund to make the payroll.
Okay.
I got a question, simple. How many people are we paying on the payroll right now? How many's on the payroll?
I want to say 96, 97.
How many?
I want to say 96, 97. 96 or 97.
96 or 97?
The most recent hire, the most recent department that's made a couple hires is the street and sanitation.
Somewhere.
The street and sanitation.
We gotta get down to about 80.
So, and trimming to 80 might be an arbitrary number. I don't disagree that we've looked at places to see where we can relieve some numbers, but the city at the end of the day still has to operate, and I think that's part of the challenge there, is that finding that number so that the city can still maintain operations.
Might have to consolidate some of these jobs to eliminate some of these people. I don't know the solution.
And I caution us. When we talk about people's jobs, I just caution us from saying eliminate. But I understand that, especially as numbers are crunched, we have to look at what we can support. My assessment is that the biggest hurdle that we've had through these financial reports, looking at them, has been just overspending or spending too much out of the budget line item for things that we weren't intending
Too many
to.
people.
I think at one point in time, you can
That's
say
the bottom line.
that hasn't.
I think the Little Rock tell us for our city, the size, should be operating under 80 people.
No, sir. Mr. Messina, you've been saying that since last year, and I keep telling you, we can't make it with 80 people. That's not even possible. Unless man knows something I don't know, we can't make it with 80 people. He called it arbitrary. I agree on that. It's not possible to efficiently run all
All right,
this.
85 then, if that makes you happy.
85.
But I mean, we can't sustain what we're doing.
You can't spend what you don't have. If you don't have the money, you can't spend it.
And that's what I keep saying. You can't
Just go
spend.
back to
I keep
basics.
saying you can't spend what you don't have, but I keep trying to have specific discussions about specific expenses and revenue, expenses. How's it going? How's it changing? So I agree with that assessment. You can't spend what you don't have, you can't make it away to people.
I look at 14,000 is a small amount, to spend on, I don't see anything wrong with that, I'll be honest with you.
Well,
It's not a big expense, to do on streets. We can't afford 100,000, 200,000, but we,
Well, in comparison, Mr. Wyland's statement was that he could do,
got to
he could use a limestone
Oh.
field. He said that would cost about $2,000, and he could do both of those old little, well, whatever, two of those streets he could do for $2,000. My only point in this whole thing is $14,000 for a city who takes in 9 or 10 million. No, that's not a lot of money, but when the city is short at every turn, it is a lot of money. When you have a budget that allocates $50,000 for street repair, what you're really doing is you're spending almost a third of that expense in basically three places. And you got a whole city. I mean, there are dangerous potholes almost on every turn in this city. And so that's my caution about spending $14,000. No, it's not a lot of money when you look at it on the whole, but then maybe in our condition, it is a lot of money.
If I may, and this is to Madam Clerk and Mr. Etherly, both of y'all testified for a legislative audit. Right, both of y'all testified for a legislative audit, and y'all discussed the numbers then. Ms. Messina keeps mentioning 80, that's reasonable. When you all testified, what was Mr. Turner's testimony as to how many employees were on payroll at that point?
It was about 120 at the time. So yeah, when I showed up over here, I want to say we did accounts maybe about 117 or 118 when we did an account. We got down under 100. I don't know where you cut other employees at this point.
And at the time, that was at the time you testified for.
Well, I do, but I wouldn't say it here. But I was given some suggestions by some legislators over there on that day after we finished. But I wouldn't make that suggestion here today.
I think we can talk about this on Thursday.
we'll take,
We'll talk about this on Thursday, try to sum it up.
Just for clarity, Mr. St. Columbus, by the time we went to the legislative audit that day, Mr. Etherly, by the time we went to the legislative audit that day, you keep throwing the number 80. It was 120 actual on payroll, but that was down from previous numbers when they asked about the audit and et cetera. So you're at 90-something. It's your duty, your obligation to look at what's sufficient. But also, I think Mr. Etherly and the mayor have a point that you don't want to be arbitrary and capricious in determining employees.
You got some emergency things that have to be taken care of, and I think that's what we've got on Springdale, Little Rock, and Tulip Circle. Those were emergencies that absolutely needed taken care of.
So we will revisit this because, this is not the end of this discussion. We'll bring this back when the body is full and have a more comprehensive conversation about it. I also want to add, this also potentially just leads into understanding that caucus, as I've talked to the treasurer, will probably need to be an amending of a budget to a degree. So,
Point of order, I would just, when we get to the invoice and et cetera, one of the things I know that the judge has sent us an email about acquisition being out in the courtroom. And at some point we need to address that, whether it's Thursday or, I know last time it was out, it's been years ago, Mr. Etherly and I, we had court in here because we couldn't have court in the courtroom because the courtroom gets sweltering hot when there's no air in the building. But I just want to bring that to your attention so we can discuss that eventually.
thank you, Attorney. Thank you, Attorney. That's another expense to talk about, hot air in this, cool air in this hot heat. So moving on to our next order of business will be water invoices. I'm going to invite Mr. Rose to come up. These are invoices that have some in part been used to render services already, others are waiting approval, and I will yield the floor to Mr. Rose. to discuss each one specifically. These are in your packet, starting on page 10. Good evening.
Okay, the first invoice we have here is Bell Construction Valves. To give a little context to this particular invoice, we had a major line separation from a fire hydrant the day after Memorial Day. And to start repairs on the line, I actually attempted to isolate that section of the line, which caused a temporary disruption in service in West Helena. And what was needed for us to move forward with the repairs was a valve insertion. This is what we call a hot valve insertion, where a valve is put into the line under pressure. Now, with doing this, we were able to finish making a repair to this hydrant, which was initially hit by a vehicle at some point in time, and it completely separated. And so when a fire hydrant separates from the main line, it's usually a 6-inch or larger line, and this could have potentially drained our entire system in West Helena. So we're still in a sensitive situation with our water supply. Mr. Messina, you had a question?
When was it struck by a vehicle?
I'm sorry?
When was it struck by a vehicle?
This may have been, this was some time, it was probably about a month or so ago, the fire hydrant was actually. So it was hit by a vehicle, and behind the auxiliary valve is where the separation was. Because usually these hydrants get hit quite often, unfortunately, but we're able to isolate right there at the auxiliary valve at the base of the hydrant. With this particular case, the break was behind the auxiliary valve, and so it was leaking. We had attention to get to it, but it actually separated because of the pressure at that particular point, which led to this invoice of us fully repairing the hydrant and getting a valve insertion.
Did we obtain whether they had motor vehicle insurance?
No,
They did not have insurance?
No, I mean, I'm making an assumption. It was a hit and run. We never saw who actually hit the hydrant. Yeah, so it's not like I actually have a report on this particular case of the fire hydrant being hit. And
Yes.
a lot of times, if their vehicle is able to operate, they go on. This is overnight situations, drunk driving, et cetera, whatever the case may have been. But this causes us a lot of problems. Go ahead, Mr. Messina.
I don't want to get off the subject, and this might be on the same thing you're talking about. I was driving around town, Helena and West Helena. Mostly I saw it in West Helena. Fire plugs, fire hydrants are completely knocked off.
Just leaning.
Leaning, yes. Leaning or level with the ground. If there was a fire, they couldn't use that fire hydrant. And the people's houses that should be used for those fire hydrants, hell, we could get sued. The city could be sued for not having proper water. It'd be like in California, where they didn't have any water. So I mean, how do we fix those?
It's going to be a process, and it's going to be a costly process, because just like you mentioned, there's so many hit fire hydrants that are just leaning, and we have them isolated, so yeah, they're not leaking, but we can't turn them on because we're going to have issues.
I think last time we talked, they brought up, it was 18 of them that they counted.
Okay, yeah, for sure. And
And
some of them we actually removed to where there's not a fire hydrant right there. Okay, and so with the 18 that was counted, the actual is double that amount, but this is the plan moving forward with these fire hydrants. So we have a lot of things in the work right now. When we're looking at our upcoming line replacement with our DRA grant, the lines that we're getting replaced are going to include valves and fire hydrants on those particular lines. So each phase that we're doing this line replacement, we're going to attack these fire hydrants as well. Okay?
Now, let me ask, because I don't know your operation. I know you're trying to do the best you can. A week from, not next meeting, but the meeting after that, can you give us a report on how many have been repaired or replaced, or
For sure.
of the 18, maybe 2 or 3?
Yes.
Something,
For sure.
so we can get something going.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no, for sure, because actually, I can get a full list, because we have been able to do some smaller repairs on the other hydrants. But with this particular invoice, this is 3 of the hydrants that was on the list that we got taken care of. And so one was on Hawkins and Mooney. Another one was actually at our water tower. This is a very critical hydrant, North First, where our water shop is at, was replaced. A brand new hydrant actually put in there, and our flushing hydrant, which is critical to cleaning our water tower and aerator, which we're going to talk about next, was replaced as well. And so I can have a full update on the other fire hydrants that we need to repair and that has been repaired for our next meeting for sure.
Okay, this might take a whole year, the rest of the year to get them all done, but at least we can say we have all the fire hydrants replaced for the city.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Any more questions about the Bell Construction invoice?
And I think it might be, I mean, I don't want to stop questioning, but it's a plan to go through all of them?
Oh, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't no more questions about this particular one. Next invoice we have is Red River Ford. Now, this particular invoice is actually a quote, but this is for the refurbishment of our single cab Ford truck. This is one of our 2017 model service trucks that actually had 33,000 miles on it, which is very low for that year and model. And the idea was to see what the cost would be to replace the engine, to actually get it to where we can add it back to our service fleet. And this is particularly critical because we're looking at not only the recent hires that we have is continuing to bring on more personnel. And as I bring on more personnel, I will need reliable vehicles for them to be in to answer these service calls. Now, there's a lot of issues on getting meters read, leaks fixed, situations looked at. I need my employees to be able to get to these locations. And so, yes, we are a little bit better staffed than we were.
Is this a new truck that we had that's got 33,000 miles on it?
No, this is actually an older truck. This was purchased back in 2017, 2016.
2017?
Yes, sir. And so this particular quote with engine replacement, I believe a shaft, I don't know why they don't have that there, but a drive shaft and a battery, all of this comes out to a total with tax, shop supplies, labor, comes out to a total of $16,081.54. Now, with this particular quote for this refurbishment of a truck that we've already had, the engine just went bad, timing belt went out, needed to be replaced. I compared this to a cost of a new used service truck, which comes out to pretty much around $20,000 to get a decent used service truck. And if we're going newer, more, let's say compatible models, we're looking at $30,000, $40,000, just for one vehicle. And so just my ideal of actually approaching this in a financial stability mindset, we're making a pretty good choice with moving forward with this particular.
Spend $16,000 to upgrade that truck, and that's all we need. We don't need another one.
Well, I will need some more, but just to have one more truck to the fleet, I mean, we're going to be able to get so much more done.
Accessibility shortcuts?
Just on the service aspect for this particular truck. And so, yes, I will be on down the line further and mentioning, adding, maybe 1 or 2 trucks to our fleet. But as for now, getting one up and running, it's going to make a big difference.
Good. I got a major question. Who do we have, or who do we use as a maintenance man for the city of Helena on our trucks and cars? Who do we have that's
This man
legitimate?
right here, no, I'm not legitimate. We've been actually, using, the mechanic at the street department, you know, when he's able to get to our service trucks. Now, keep in mind, the maintenance, mechanic that they have there at the street department, they're constantly working on the garbage trucks, police vehicles, everything with the city. And so that has been an issue. But actually, we have a few service trucks, in our fleet. And when we have an issue with them, you know, a lot of times we're gonna have to self-diagnose that particular issue, try our best to see if we can fix it within our department. If we can't, potentially the mechanic at the street department can get it, but that may not be in a timely manner. you know.
Who's the person that does that?
At the street
What's his
department,
name, yeah?
I believe it's Dexter.
Who?
Dexter.
I can't hear you.
Dexter. Dexter. I don't
Cedric,
know.
you say Cedric?
Dexter.
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 I'm sorry.
Well, we need to speak up at this meeting so we can hear.
Yeah.
We can't hear what's going on and have the meeting, not necessarily you, but I mean generally. We can't hear what's going on from everybody. Every now and then, our attorney will speak low, then all of a sudden he speaks loud, then we can hear you. But I'm serious. There's a lot of stuff that we vote on, we can barely hear what the information is that's coming out. Now, you're doing really good, you're doing better.
Well, for the mechanic, now I don't know if there's multiple mechanics, but the one that I know that has been helping us out when he can is Dexter at the street department. But that is not sufficient for the issues that we have with the vehicles. We have right now 6 vehicles at the water department that are being used every day with the maintenance trucks, and that maintenance and the service trucks, which consists of 4 of the vehicles, are constantly running between West Helena, and Long Lake. We're putting high mileage on these vehicles. We're doing our best to keep them serviced in the intervals that they need to be serviced. But we just got to keep in mind that it's wear and tear. It's wear and tear. There has been repairs made. I'm hoping that when you see these water department service trucks, that they look better. They're not all binged up and you know, tail lights hanging off and things like that. I know that was experienced in the past, but it's critical that we have working vehicles to be able to get this job done. Okay.
I just want to make sure we got competent people working on the trucks that's competent to fix them.
Exactly.
We don't need to be just sending checks out to say we got a repairman and he can't fix half the damn trucks.
Right.
Hey, use this right here, it helps.
Oh, I got you. Was there any more questions in regards to this particular invoice?
I do want to say there was a slight misprint. So page 12, you'll see is blank. The rest of the 16,000 from this particular quote, for some reason, did not print off, but it consists of the other parts that Mr. Rose was indicating. So key interchanges with cooling interchanges, nuts, studs, gaskets, canister, fuel, sensors, valve assembly, cinder and pump assembly, antifreeze. So there is another sheet of listed repair work that was supposed to be on the page that was blank. So,
What's supposed to be here, not 6,400?
and I'll print this out now just so that you can have it. But it's a list of other items that they will work on the same truck. If you notice, the total is $16,081.54 for what would be the full repair of this particular truck, but you only see 3 items listed. So when printing, the rest of the items were cut off. Just wanted to make sure we understood. We're not, the proposal isn't $16,000 for 3 pieces of work. I just wanted to make sure that's clear.
All right, so the Red River is supposed to be how much?
The total for the truck is for the repair of the truck would be $16,081.54.
That's what we got here.
But you only see 3 items listed at the top where it says description.
Yeah.
You only see 3 items, and I'm clarifying that those 3 items alone don't total the 16,000. There was a misprint on the page behind it that is supposed to have the rest of the work orders on it.
So we got overcharged on this.
Exactly. So you're not, the proposal isn't $16,000 for 3 pieces of repair.
I got
I
you.
just wanted to make that clear.
I'll move it on to this next invoice. It's with Tonka Water, Corita. Now, this particular invoice is in relation to our aerator, which is at our West Helena treatment plant. Now, our aerator is a part of our filtration process that starts the oxidation process of removing the iron from the raw water well. There's iron that comes up from under the ground, and we have to remove that iron before it goes into the treatment process where the chemical is added, which is chlorine and fluoride, and it goes into our filtration system, then it goes into our clear well. Now, what is happening, our aerator needs to be serviced every so often, let's say every 5 years roughly, and we're right in that mark of this needing to be serviced. And so I want to speak a little bit about some of the issues with brown water throughout the system. And this is not the primary cause, but with getting our aerator serviced completely will help this situation. Now, we've made some alterations and repairs to our control panels for our filter system that enabled us to be able to fully close and open all of our filters at the West Helena treatment plant, okay? And so with this, since last week, there's already been improvements with brown water not being in the system. I don't want to get too technical, but with just the adjustments we made to our control panel, filtration system, and actually moving forward with being able to fully service our aerator, we're going to have better water coming through our system, okay? And now just to speak a little bit about the brown water is an increase of inorganic, which is iron in the water. And what we did to combat that is actually turn up our chlorine supply to oxidate the water even more, okay? So it's not unsafe when you're seeing discolored water at times. Now, it's only certain sections of the system, so we've been flushing these areas, but just with making the adjustments that we did at our treatment plant and the repairs that we're going to do moving forward on our aerator is going to fully solve this particular issue. Okay. Thanks for that. Now, another thing I want to mention with this particular quote, these are all the items needed to fully refurbish the aerator. I am working with the aftermarket engineers to actually see if we need an entire new aerator. If this is the case, we're going to be shifting this particular project to our long-range plan, and I work with Mr. Ken Weiland and actually putting this potentially, in a project for our A&RC loan. So we're not going to be paying this out of our particular budget, potentially, okay? And so that's all in the process right now, but I did want to go ahead and present this quote because we're going to move forward with a few of these items, which is particularly when you're looking at the nozzle spray, gaskets, and the PVC piping. We're going to look to go ahead and replace the piping that's going to remove the iron that's in our aerator right now to where the aerator's not spilling water over. We're getting a better flow into our plant, and we're just getting a better filtration process going into our treatment plant.
The iron is causing the water to be brown.
It's a part of it. It's a part of it because when our filters are not fully closing, and one particular filter, we actually have a hole in the drainage gallery. This has been an issue for a long time. Until that hole is repaired, there's sediment that can go through that filter process that's not catching all of the iron at that stage of the filtration process.
Right, so
okay?
when are we gonna have that in operation?
Can you repeat that question? What do you mean?
Yeah, when are we gonna have that hole that you said is?
Oh, well, that is going to be a part of, let's say, the intermediate process of getting work done on the plant, because not to get too,
The reason why I'm asking that, because everywhere I go in West Helena, I go to Walmart, they stop me. I go in Walmart, they stop me. Why is my water brown? I don't have any idea why the water's brown.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I want to speak to this evening. But just for that particular issue with the filter, What we done is actually got it to where when that filter closes all the way, it's gonna filter the way it needs to with the water until we can get that hole in the drain repaired. Now, for that to happen, we're actually looking at various options with the engineers on having a portable filter. I've actually spoke with the health department on this, shutting down that particular filter and running on 3 filters at the plant. We have 4 in total. And so there's different things that we're looking at doing right now.
And we'll
to
have that
address
fixed in what, 30 days or less?
It's probably gonna be longer than that, but that's why I wanted to actually get in a little bit detail of what's happening now, is that you shouldn't be seeing as much brown water in the system as last week or the week before, because now we have those filters actually fully closing and opening like they should, okay? And now we're also moving to being able to isolate that filter if need be. Like if we get another influx of complaints about brown water, we can shut that filter down and run off of 3 filters. And so we've already made progress on addressing that situation with the brown water complaints.
How often does the state test our water?
Okay, there's tests done weekly. Okay, we have to submit samples weekly to the health department and get approved. If there's any bad samples from the health department, I have to, by state law, I have to report this to the public within 24 hours. And so we are passing all of our samples. That has not been the case. The health department only suggestion was that we increase our chlorine to battle the inorganics when there's a severe brown water issue, and to make sure we continue flushing our hydrants, flushing our system. And so all of that is currently taking place to keep us in compliance with the state.
As long as we know what the problem is and you're working to solve it, we're gonna be fine.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir. Agreed. All right.
I'm gonna have you answer the questions next time.
Well, the thing about it is, you asking the questions, Mr. Messina, what he's just trying to explain, this is not, some people post things and they say that the water is not safe to drink, et cetera. That is completely false. As he said, the water is tested every week. And water is a matter of public safety, and the city's water is fine. You have an aging system that once we close on the loans and et cetera, a lot of things that Mr. Rose is speaking about will start being corrected. And as he spoke about the area that he's actually to approve voting on, what that did was to get the iron out of the system so it won't have discoloration, so that it will have more oxygen and be able to breathe better.
Mr. Rose is explaining to us what's going on.
Yes, sir. And the issue is, like he's talking about an aerator, if you look at the end of when it comes out of your sink, you have an aerator on the end of your sink to provide air to your water as it comes out. And so, but the thing about it is the filtration system that he wants to make sure that we've got proper air, oxygen, and other things going through, so you won't have the discoloration.
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad he's here explaining all this to people who are not water experts. He's explaining, doing a good job.
And just another mention of the testing, we actually do daily testing at the plant. Every day we have to run samples to make sure to test the chlorine in the water, if any chemicals, anything, as it's coming into the treatment plant and going out.
And that's at the West Helena plant?
Both our plants, West
Okay.
Helena and the Helena plant. But test results are submitted weekly and to monthly approval. So it's a constant process of ensuring that this water is safe. Okay. Now, to the last invoice, or second to the last invoice, this is, I believe, Quattlebaum Plumbing. This is a reflection of leaks that's been fixed in the pay period of May 18th to May 21st. Now, this particular invoice, we've been repairing leaks in the Helena area. Now, I hope there's been some visual improvement of the leaks in both West Helena and Helena, but we're starting to finally really attack this area to make sure that these long leaks that's been running for a long time that we're getting to. I know we're hitting them in phases, so next phase is actually going into the Holiday Hill area. I know there's been a long-standing leak right there, and a couple of other areas that we've been just seeing leaks run for a long time. We're trying to make sure that those get taken care of sooner than later. with the assistance of not only our maintenance personnel, but Quattlebaum Plumbing. That's been helping us out quite a bit to catch up on these leaks, okay? Okay. And this last one is Xylem. This is a fuel charge for $12,795.69. Now, I don't know how much this was explained, but Xylem is our rental service that we're using is bypass pumps, that we're renting these bypass pumps from. I made the decision to actually have Xylem bring out tanks and fill the tanks with diesel at a cheaper rate that we was purchasing from Jordan's. That's where we were originally getting our diesel, and cutting back on man service hours of running diesel. That's been an issue for years, having diesel on the back of our trucks, taking them to the pump stations. That's all obsolete now, okay? And so Xylem is actually providing the service to fill these diesel tanks up to keep these pumps running. Now, one thing, I know there's been a few of these Xylem fuel invoices that's been coming across over the last month or so. They're getting less and less. We're starting to use these pumps less. We're starting to cut them off as we're making repairs. And another item that you'll be all seeing from me soon is the refurbishment and repairs to 2 of these stations under the DRE grant that we received $75,000 for, to remove 2 more bypass pumps, which is our largest bypass pumps, which is causing our high fuel bills that we're seeing. Okay?
Mr. Rose, how many bypass pumps do we have?
Right now, we have 5 bypass pumps.
Okay.
All right, and so where the fuel, I have 4 fuel tanks. That's what this invoice reflects. And one of the bypass pumps we do not have on a fuel tank. But just to kind of recap what I just mentioned, we're in the process of removing 2 more of these bypass pumps within a timely manner. And I would say that 60, 90-day period roughly on getting 2 more pump stations fully in operation. And that's going to cut down this cost even more. So just expect to see every time one of these fuel bills come, it gets lower and lower and lower. Okay?
Do you have an anticipated time when we'll be completely off the bypass pumps?
Oh, now, I don't want to get ahead of myself and say, I would love to say by the end of this year, but that's not necessarily going to be the case, because we have some very technical repairs that need to be made to a few of these stations that's been down for quite some time. And not only technicalities of what needs to be done, we have to look at the parts. We have these old stations to where they don't make parts for the style of these stations in this area. And so we have to really get into either another solution of that pump station. And what I mean by another solution is restyling or re-engineering that pump station to work differently than it has in the past, or to look at how we can possibly order the parts from another state or possibly even another country at this point in time, because we're just dealing with an old setup, okay?
So you're asking the body to approve all of these. This is in accordance to the consent administrative order as well, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
And the total for the amount, I don't know if anybody's added up already, but the total for the amount is $80,327.63 for the 2 invoices for where work has been done in the 3 proposals.
I have one question, Mr. Rose. He jumped my question. He knew I was going to ask him about fuel charge, because I asked twice already. Are you saying that our people don't fill these pumps anymore?
No, sir, we do not.
So what do we have on, is there some kind of tank on site, is that what it is?
Yes, there's a cube tank. Usually it's a 500-gallon storage tank that I have at 4 of the bypass pumps currently right now.
So proportionally, that's reduced your overtime as well because of that?
Yes, sir. And the price we've been paying for fuel, because when Xylem is coming out and filling up the tanks. They're actually using the foreign fuel instead of the fuel that we've been getting from Jordan's. Has been for, basically for the semi trucks. I can't think of what you call that particular fuel right now, but it's not the foreign fuel. And we were paying a little bit more for that diesel at the time, and so kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. But like I say, I just look forward to every time these invoices come, they just slowly getting less and less until we're fully off this bypass system.
Well, I want to, go ahead, I mean, cut you off, Councilman.
I'm just curious, how many of your men take trucks home on the weekend?
Right now, I have only 3 of my personnel that's taking trucks home, okay? This is my field supervisor, one of my plant operators, and another maintenance personnel that can come out whenever it's needed for overnight calls. Okay, but all other vehicles are being parked.
What I wanted to add in hopes that the body will consider is that all of these will lend themselves to having a healthier water department that can provide a better quality service. I don't think any of us need a lesson in hearing residents' concerns about the quality of water, the quality of our infrastructure, and so this is the benefit of those increased rates, that we have a department that can make sure they can operate the way they're supposed to. So I'm in support of these repairs as they're helping us improve the quality of our water distribution to residents. Is there any discussion, any other questions for Mr. Rose while he's here? And if not, is there a motion to accept these proposals and invoices in the total of, again, $80,327.63 for hydrant replacement, refurbishing of a single cab truck, West Helena plant aerator repair, Quattlebaum plumbing invoice, and Xylem invoice as well.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Etherly,
Yes.
Mr. Messina,
Yes.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
4.
Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Rose.
Thank you all. While I'm up here, are we gonna speak to the uniform, census uniform?
Oh, yeah, we got a witness.
Yeah, we don't have enough.
Yeah, you don't have to, Ms. St. London,
Yeah.
Okay,
We may have to address that Thursday.
completely understand, because I need to print out some information for you all anyway. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Rose.
A little soft.
Our very last item before we get ready to close for the day, we have a resident, Ms. Sheila Smith, that wanted to come forth and address the body regarding concerned citizen waiver competition.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Sheila, and I'm a citizen of Helena-West and been here most of my life. One of my biggest concerns is the water, of course, because you can go pretty much down every street and see a water leak. With the water leaks, they're getting to the point where when you let the water leak so long, erosion causes the soil to leave up under the streets. You got potholes, you got big old sinkholes. Then this also is gonna affect your housing, because it's gonna affect your housing how it's shift. So we're gonna be looking at all kind of money damage if we don't get this water fixed. It's an emergency. We still in a water crisis. And yesterday, I noticed that my meter, and I thought just because of all the water from the rain that had come through, that the water had just set usually water's in the meter. But then I realized, okay, the water is just trickling, so there's a leak around the meter. So I called them out today. They did come, because I saw them on the camera when they came. So I have to get back with them in the morning to find out what they found about this meter. But It just, everywhere you go, there's a water leak. There's water coming out the ground. And this is very important because it's causing all the potholes. You're driving in your vehicle, you're gonna cause an accident when you hit these big old potholes. Somebody can make a chance of flipping over, killing themselves. Then what? I mean, all of it has a ripple effect. But a majority and a lot of the problem is this water. And I'm trying to figure out, like, because I barely see people fixing on the water. I'm sorry, but we know we're going to get, because they say we have $11 million, so-called $11 million loan, but, and it has to be, it's so hard to get the money. I don't understand how you got $11 million loan, but you never can get the money to fix the stuff. So I'm just not understanding that, because they're saying that the government won't release the money. It's so hard for the government to release the money, but I'm not understanding, like, because we're in a crisis. I mean, because this is gonna affect everything. It's gonna affect our roads, it's gonna affect our infrastructures, and I know it's not coming from under the ground. It's kind of getting over from something different, but water leaks are water leaks, and this leak over here at the courthouse, I don't know what it is, but it's water running like a water hydrant, and it's wasting water. What they gonna do about it? What is that big structure with that water running out of it? Why the water running out like that on the side? It's tearing up the roads, it's running all down the roads, it's pulling off the soil, so we gonna have problems. Why won't they fix that? That is money that we have to pay to fix it, because that's on a public building. That's citizen money. That needs to be fixed. I'm just looking for some solutions, because it's been over this back in 2024, 2026 now, and I ain't see nobody working on no water or no putting no lines in. So it's time for some solutions. It's time to see some work.
So thank you, Ms. Smith. I think the place that as you're talking about the courthouse, you're talking about right across
The street, this big tin thing, and the water just runs like took off one of the water houses, and it's going all down the street. So that means you corroding on the soil is coming all out. You got to run down the streets, gonna mess the streets up. And this been going on for a while. When are they gonna fix that? This city property.
I believe if we're thinking about the same place, I believe that would be county, but still impacts the city.
But yes,
Still impacts the city. Still impacts the city. So I just wanted to answer a couple of the things. So myself, the chief of staff, we're working with Mr. Rose. We're going to be doing a water convening very soon, within the next 2 weeks for the city. It's an opportunity for residents to come out and get questions answered, also get an understanding around how rates are calculated, pretty much everything water, so people can leave with an understanding. Every time someone makes a post on Facebook or online somewhere saying this is why our water bills are going up, this is why our water bills are going up, my response to that, as I see these comments or these posts, you're right. That is why water bills are going up. Our infrastructure is aged. It's old. I know that you might not see every single repair that happens, but our water department does have a locate team where you have people that spend their whole day locating leaks around the city. I've seen them in West Helena off of 5th Street. I've seen them in Helena off of Franklin Street. I mean, they go all over. And the reality of the situation is, with the manpower that's currently at our disposal within the water department, the sheer number of leaks outnumbers them. So for a lot of our residents and citizens, it may appear that we're not prioritizing leaks. We have so many leaks, and that's why the approvals that we just had with those invoices and repairs, that's why those are urgent, so that we can make sure we have a stronger, healthier water department. But I do encourage you to just stay tuned. We're narrowing a date again for within the next 2 weeks to have that water convening meeting, and that will be a public meeting for folks to come out and get clarity.
Okay.
Also,
And
if I may, Ms. Smith, from a standpoint, the city has spent thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars repairing leaks. The city has retained the engineer, Smith and Weiland. They're preparing a plan for the state to approve. We have, the Arkansas Department of Health has two what's called consent administrative orders, where they identified many of the issues with the Helena and West Helena water utilities that are still considered separate from an enforcement standpoint, even though we're one entity, one city. But there were details about each that Mr. Rose speaks to consistently relating to issues that need to be repaired. When we did the water rate study with Arkansas Rural Water, they talked about that at some point we had about 80% of the water that was being manufactured was going on the ground. The city has spent, as I said, thousands if not $100,000 getting between Quattlebaum Plumbing, between Andre Crawford and others fixing leaks. So you may not see uniform people from the water department, but you are seeing them contracting to do it, and you are seeing Mr. Rose have people out doing it. I can't speak to the day-to-day, but as far as you're talking about $11 million, we have not closed on that loan. We're preparing a plan. The engineer prepared a plan to show priority as to here are the things we have to do to comply with the orders that we were given. We were given 2 orders by the state, and he's detailing a plan for the state. The state has to approve that plan before we can get a go to go forward. We also received loan paperwork from them. We have not closed on it. When we close on it, then the funds will be available to the citizens to do so. But they need detailed plans. And the issue is, as the mayor said, with the aging infrastructure, when Mr. Rose directs someone to go repair a leak, because of the age of our pipes, if we repair a leak on one area, then what happens is the pressure is increased, and down the street another pipe bursts because of the pressure bursts a pipe. That's literal. Water will flow in, and another pipe busts, and you think that they didn't fix a leak, but they did, but it moved farther down the road. And so you have all those type of issues, and the state came down here and they met with us, and they were saying eventually we want a plan for you to replace whole streets at a time till we get this done and going forward. So the 11 million and the 27 million that we've been discussing is about that. There's a holistic plan. Instead of you doing it piecemeal, there are things that we're doing. There's still going to be other funds we've got to use to replace things. They're addressing issues in Helena and West Helena. And the issue is a serious issue. It's one that we've taken very seriously. And we're moving forward. And that constant communication. Every time that the engineer does a draft, it has to be approved by the state. Then they send it back to him for corrections. Show me how you're going to address this issue and this issue. So that process is tedious and it takes time. And we're working on it. And as you heard also from Mr. Rose, that they're constantly testing the water. They do daily samples. Weekly, the state tested, and they said the water's still good. So the city is trying to get it done. The issue is the geography of the city is very large. It still services the same water line we did when we were 2 or 3 times the size that we are now, greater. But we still have that infrastructure. And the city has to fix all of that infrastructure. We're moving forward. And the state is watching everything to make sure we're compliant. And they want us to operate with due diligence. Mr. Rose is trying to operate with due diligence, the engineer, the mayor, the city council, everybody's trying to operate with due diligence. Once it gets to the table, city council makes decisions quickly. That's why we approved all these bills tonight, so we could try to get those things done. And so we all have to have patience. It isn't that the city is ignoring the issue. The issue was so vast and it took so long, and now that every time something comes up, city council is trying to deal with it, and I can't speak for the council for that yet. And each mayor of the city has tried to deal with it. And the thing is, it's a large problem, and the city is trying to work on it. And I would invite either the mayor or Mr. Rose to any additional comments.
I just want, thank you, Attorney Valley. And I just wanted to add 2 quick things that just jogged my memory. Number one, the $11 million loan. When funds become available, the city's not going to get a lump sum of those funds. So workers and contractors are going to do work. They'll have a request for payment or approval, and those forms will have to confirm that work was done, and we send that in to the Arkansas Natural Resource Commission, who is the group that's made that loan for us, available for us. So I want to just in case that wasn't known, or just in case somebody watching at home doesn't know that, the city's not gonna get a lump sum of those funds. We will use those funds as we get certain stages of the project completed. The second thing that just came to me also, we also have a $2 million Delta Regional Authority full grant for water line replacement. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Rose, but that project was approved, correct, for us to start within the year? 2.5, exactly. So 2.5 million, that's full grant. That is strictly for water line replacement. And within the last, I want to say 2.5, 3 weeks ago, we got the news that it's within the next year. We need to make sure that project is done or worked on. So that is also another source of opportunity for improvement and some relief coming as well.
Okay. What are they gonna do about the manpower then? For like, is they gonna get the manpower in here and when? And
the department currently is hiring. I'm not sure when your last hire was. I don't want to say the wrong date, but the water department, they've had advertisements for personnel, for new laborers.
so how they getting this manpower in? I mean, are they doing something to try to get them in, or what? I mean, because you said we need manpower.
So our process has been, for any open role, that role gets placed into the newspaper. Sometimes that gets online press as well, and interviews come in. They contact the department head, the HR. They go through an interview process, and we make sure, as I've asked all department heads, to make sure that they bring in the most certified, best people that also potentially have room to grow. So that's been a process that they've been undergoing recently. Thank you, Ms. Smith. Thank you for being a concern.
Over there, that's the county courthouse, it's a county building.
Also, they're not gonna, is it gonna run?
I don't know what the county judge is doing over there.
Does that affect our bill too?
I can't say it affects our bill, but what I can do is we'll
Affect my bill, it's my business, I'm gonna know when it's gonna get fixed.
all water leaks that are identified are noted. Like I said, we have a locate team, and the reality of it is that those locates outpace at times our workforce. So we will make sure that, and I will invite you back. I'll invite you to talk about that once we get off of this. But I do invite you.
Yeah, who does that? Who's over there?
The county judge in court.
So that's who you speak to? The county judge? Okay. And he's over funding for fixing it? Does that go to, do they have like, do they get cited for that?
I can't say if they did.
Because you'll cite us. Why can't they be, for this water run? It's time of the streets.
I understand what you're
that's not
asking.
a question that's, if it was a citizen, you'd cite us. I'm just saying.
So, no, I understand what you're asking now. I wasn't sure if you were asking,
They should be being billed for it.
yeah, I wasn't sure if you were asking if there was an oversight body outside of the city, but I do understand what you're asking now. You brought it to our attention today, and I'm not sure if our water department, I don't know every single item that's on the locate team or locate list. I'm not sure, but I will make sure that I speak with our water department director who's here now, so that we can address that one too. Thank you, Ms. Smith, for being a concerned citizen. With that, thank you all, and I'll accept the motion to.
Several weeks ago, we talked about having our code enforcement officers to come to the meeting and give us an update on what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we would know what they were doing as code enforcement officers and what problems that they have run into. And I hadn't seen a code enforcement officer here in 2 months at a meeting.
No, I want to say it was the last meeting that we asked if that was, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure if my memory serves me correctly.
Maybe it was a month ago, but I have not seen the code enforcement Officer, give us an update on what they're doing. And somebody mentioned to me,
So they
the
did
code
not,
enforcement officer have to have some kind of certification to be a code enforcement officer.
It doesn't have to have certification to be a code enforcement officer. There's training that the code enforcement officer has to do after they're hired.
They have to have training,
Every employee needs to be trained.
huh?
Every employee needs to be trained.
Okay, somebody asked me that question today, and I said, I don't know if our code enforcement officer has the proper training. I don't know that. Has he? Do they?
they've had, I can't identify all the training that they've had, but I've recently spoken with Chief Sanders, and we're going to work to make sure that they can be part-time certified through the police department. Not adding new personnel to the police department, but allowing them to get certified under their training.
Can the code enforcement officer give tickets to people for littering?
They can write the.
They can write affidavits to people for crimes. As it relates to training is an ongoing thing. The longer the person is a code enforcement officer, when the city has the capacity to do additional training, they go through HVAC training, they go through building code training, they go through all manner of training as it relates to it. So people that have just been hired a few months wouldn't have all the training, but people, as they go forward, they get a variety of training. And they lean on other departments when they need advice relating to things that they need at the immediate time.
Okay, we want to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do.
I do.
They can write an affidavit, they can't write a ticket.
Yes, Mr. Messina.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. When it's talking about code enforcement, an affidavit and a ticket carry the same weight. An affidavit is, any citizen can write an affidavit to allege that a crime has occurred, and it's reviewed by the city attorney's office, by the judge, and a warrant is issued for a misdemeanor. And any person can do that. You can do an affidavit. A citation, a person has to be on the Arkansas Law Enforcement Training Academy standards certification in order to write citations. But anybody can write an affidavit.
The reason why somebody mentioned that we needed to make some money for the city, and I just see people just throwing stuff out of the damn cars.
To that point, Mr. Messina, I just want to say quickly, we had a very similar to what I was just describing to Ms. Smith, which is going to be a water convening that we'll have. We had a code enforcement session / town hall where they presented the work that they were doing, the updates in terms of explaining the stickers that people might not recognize and understand, breaking down to them what that means. So they have been, because it's my belief personally that people need to be able to see what departments are doing. We need to be able to make it make sense. People need to have faith that the work that's supposed to be getting done is getting done. So the code enforcement did have that community meeting about 3 weeks ago, and I will invite them to come back to the city council meeting if you would like for them to have a presentation. They're working every day, and I could tell them to be here tomorrow, and they would have a slew of things to show, before and after pictures, priority assignments, and so they're doing their job.
If they can write tickets or
Affidavits.
the city needs to make some money,
Well,
period.
the issue isn't about making money. The first thing we need to do is enforce the law. But just point of information, Mr. Smith has been here at every council meeting. He may not have spoke, but he's been here at every council meeting. I believe he was sitting in the back earlier tonight.
I saw it.
Well, if you saw him, it was a mischaracterization to say that he hadn't been here. I understand you saying he didn't address you, but I think he was here, sitting in the back.
All right, now, at large, I'm at large for the city. And I got stopped by somebody who is really upset with that Civil War Park that we have off Audubon. The thing stays open around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it needs to be on a time where, like, from 10 to 5, 6 days a week. Because what they're doing, there's things that are going on that are not acceptable for the city.
Madam Clerk, we reflected at 8:24, we lost a quorum.
Do what now?
We lost a quorum at 8:24.
Yes.
Ms. Etherly walked out at 8:24.
What'd you just say?
We lost the
Ms.
quorum.
Etherly walked out at 8:24, we lost a quorum at 8:24. We're still meeting, there's no business that could be conducted because we don't have a quorum.
All right, but I wanna let y'all know, because he asked me to make sure that we made a presentation to the council. What are y'all's plans to think about it, to get that park closed?
And I'm trying to, Audubon, this is,
You know what I'm talking about? The Civil War Park?
this Freedom Park?
The Civil War Park up on.
Oh, battery.
He's talking about battery.
Oh, battery,
He's
okay.
talking about when
With that battery, what, A or B or what?
When Lee Porter go up the hill
I think it's battery C.
Battery C.
I think it's battery C.
Battery B?
But what we can do, so I know that park, now that I understand what you're talking about, that park does have a gate. And
does
I know
have a gate.
it does have a gate. I can't necessarily say I commit to closing it, because we don't necessarily close any of our public parks, after hours. What I have done in my time in being in this role has asked, for extra patrols in certain areas. There are a couple of parks that are close to my residence where I've asked, for patrols to make sure that,
Let me tell you, people on Audubon, they're all upset. All of them. What's going on up there, things are going on up there that is not acceptable.
would that be the Delta Cultural Center that,
I think the city can override the cultural center.
Well, no, just to have the conversation around ways to pivot. So we'll figure out, I'm not sure if that's our AMP or Delta Cultural Center, but I'm sure a conversation can be had there with how to address this moving forward. That's what I'm saying. Because it is managed, it's not managed directly by the city, but if we, and I want to say, I believe it's the Delta Cultural Center, a conversation can be had to make sure that that gets addressed.
Well, I guarantee you, if you had the homes up there, the home right next to that Civil War Battery B or whatever, you'd make damn sure it was closed. Because things are going up there that's not acceptable to social.
Well, what I'm gonna do,
If they
Attorney,
can't do
yeah.
something, why don't they call
Yeah,
police?
and what I'm gonna do, Attorney, I'll stay a little bit to talk to you, Mr. Messina, so that I can get a firm understanding. But for the sake of folks watching and for the sake of Councilwoman Miller, Attorney Valley, I'm gonna just adjourn the meeting, but I will sit to talk with you now to get a little more understanding. But thank you all, meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you.
Recording stopped.